Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the window of her underground command center, watching holographic projections of Earth's orbital defense platforms being systematically dismantled above Confederation observation ships, hovered like vultures, their sensors greedily documenting humanity's apparent submission. She allowed herself a small smile status report she commanded, turning to face the command center staff. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez glanced up from his station operation ghost screen. Proceeding is planned. Admiral, the Confederation is broadcasting their victory across all known frequencies. Their propaganda channels are having a field day with this excellent Chen moved to the central holographic display, where a real-time map of Earth's oceans pulsed with hidden data beneath the waves nearly invisible to anything but their most sophisticated sensors, lay humanity's true strength project, Poseidon. The doors slid open, admitting Fleet Commander James Okonjo. His expression was grim, the civilian. Protests are getting worse. Admiral, Singapore just had a riot outside the Defense Ministry. They think we're surrendering. Let them think that, Chen replied, her voice steady. The fewer who know the truth, the better. Even our own people must believe we've given up. The holographic display shifted, showing the Confederation's growing fleet near Mars. Their ships were biological monstrosities looking more like giant insects than spacecraft. They had appeared 5 years ago, demanding Earth's submission and presenting an ultimatum: join their confederation as a vassal state or face extinction. Earth's apparent response had shocked everyone. Gradual, complete demilitarization message from Dr. Rivera in Mariana Base, announced Lieutenant Park from her communication station phase. 3 calibrations are complete. All systems nominal. Chen nodded. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in the Mariana Trench, lay humanity's largest hidden shipyard. Similar facilities were scattered throughout Earth's oceans, each housing hundreds of vessels that would make the Confederation's bioships look primitive by comparison. Show me the latest stats. Chen ordered the holograph graphic display change, revealing rows of data hidden beneath Earth's oceans. Lay over 1 million vessels, ranging from small strike craft to massive dreadnoughts. Each was equipped with revolutionary metamaterial hulls that could transition seamlessly between underwater and space operations. Dr. Rivera's breakthrough and pressure adaptation technology had made it all possible. Confederation diplomatic, vessel requesting permission to land, Rodriguez is reported. They want to conduct their monthly inspection of our compliance. Granted. Chen replied, make sure they follow the usual route. Nothing to see but mothball facilities and decommissioned weapons. The command center fell silent as they watched the alien ship descend. These inspections had become routine over the past year, the Confederation's way of gloating over their bloodless victory. They never suspected that humans had chosen the ocean as their shield, not just because it hid their ships, but because it had helped perfect them. The watery depths had forced human engineers to develop technologies far beyond what they'd achieved in space. The pressure-resistant hulls could shrug off energy weapons. The silent propulsion systems made their ships virtually undetectable. The automated repair systems could handle both crushing depths and the vacuum of space. Admiral Okonjo spoke quietly. Proxima command reports. The Confederation is beginning to colonize some of our abandoned orbital installations right on schedule. Chen smiled. They're expanding exactly as predicted. Each step they take makes them more vulnerable when the time comes. A junior officer approached with a secure tablet. Latest intelligence from our deep space probes. Ma'am, the Confederation is already squabbling over Earth's abandoned resources. 3 different factions are claiming rights to our solar system. Chen accepted the tablet, scanning the data. The Confederation was not the unified force it pretended to be. It was a loose alliance of species, held together by fear and mutual interest. That knowledge would prove crucial in the coming weeks. How are our guests doing? She asked, referring to the inspection team currently touring a decommissioned base in Nevada, thoroughly convinced of our submission. Rodriguez replied, their bio. The signatures indicate satisfaction and content. They're particularly amused by our primitive attempt to maintain a small defensive force of traditional naval vessels. Those surface ships were real enough. But they were just the tip of the spear beneath them, arranged in precise formations throughout Earth's oceans, waited humanity's true fleet. Each ship was a marvel of engineering capable of transitioning from sea to space without the need for planetary time check. Chen announced how long until Operation Deep Strike: 37 days, 14 hours until optimal positioning. Okanjo reported the Confederation ships will be spread across the system, claiming their new territories. Their defense grid will be at its weakest. Chen nodded, studying the holographic display. Soon, very soon, the Confederation would learn why humanity had chosen to hide its strength in the oceans. They would learn that Earth's waters hadn't just concealed their ships. They had forced humans to develop technologies that made space combat seem simple by comparison. Message from Atlantis base. Park announced final weapons. Calibrations are complete. All ships report ready status. Atlantis base hidden beneath the Atlantic Ocean was. Their newest facility, its ships, incorporated their latest advances, including weapons specifically designed to target the Confederate bioships' vulnerabilities. Very good, Chen replied. Maintain current status. Let them think they've won. Let them grow comfortable and careless. She paused, watching the alien inspection ship prepare for departure. They thought they were forcing us to disarm. Instead, they gave us exactly what we needed, time to perfect our real fleet. As the command center staff continued their work, Chen returned. To the window soon the oceans would give up their secrets. Soon humanity would show the galaxy that appearing weak was the greatest strength of all. The alien ship lifted off, carrying with it reports of Earth's continued compliance. Below, hidden by kilometers of water, 1,000,000 ships waited in perfect formation, their crews trained, their weapons primed. The greatest deception in human history was about to become the greatest revelation, and not a single enemy would see it coming. Dr. Marcus Rivera stood in the observation dome of Mariana, base, watching a new class of dreadnought undergo its pressure tests at this depth. The water outside was pitch black, illuminated only by the base's external lights and the ships owned by luminescent coating. Another innovation inspired by deep-sea creatures. Pressure test, reaching maximum parameters, announced Dr. Yuki Tanaka, his chief engineer. Whole integrity at 100%, no signs of stress. 5 years ago, when Rivera had first proposed using Earth's oceans as both shipyard and shield, most had called him insane. Now, watching the massive vessel withstand pressures that would have crushed traditional spacecraft like tin cans, he felt vindicated. Begin metamaterial transition test. He ordered the dreadnought's hull shimmed its surface, rippling like liquid metal. This was the true breakthrough. A material that could actively adapt to its environment, optimizing its structure for either deep sea pressure or the vacuum of space. Dr. Rivera, a voice called from behind him. He turned to see Admiral Chen entering the observation dome. Thought I'd find you here, Admiral. He nodded toward the test in progress. The Leviathan class is exceeding expectations. The new metamaterial configurations are performing 30% better than projected. Chen moved to stand beside him, watching the massive ship. The Confederation's inspection team just left Earth orbit. Their report indicates total confidence in our submission. River allowed himself a grim smile. If they only knew what their ultimatum actually gave us, we never would have developed half of these technologies without the pressure of their deadline. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. The Confederation's demand for Earth's submission had forced humanity to innovate in ways they never would have otherwise considered. Traditional space warfare had always favored the aliens' biological ships, but underwater warfare, that was something entirely new. Show me the Ken system. Chen requested. River gestured, and the holographic displays shifted to show another testing area. Here, smaller vessels were demonstrating their capability to launch through water with virtually no cavitation. Silent hunters that could emerge from the depths without warning. The propulsion system was inspired by jellyfish. Rivera explained no moving parts, just electromagnetic field manipulation, completely silent and equally effective in water or space. A warning light flashed, drawing their attention back to the Leviathan test. The dreadnought was now demonstrating its rapid transition capabilities. It tall reconfiguring from deep-sea mode to space warfare. Configuration in seconds. Message from Dr. Carter in Atlantic Base, Tanaka announced, they've successfully tested the gravitic Lance weapon system full functionality in both aquatic and vacuum environments. Chen's eyes narrowed. Power requirements minimal. River replied with pride. The weapon uses the enemy's own mass against them. The bigger their bioships, the more devastating the effect. We've essentially turned their greatest advantage into a weakness. The Admiral nodded slowly. And they'll never see it coming their entire. Strategic doctrine is based on space warfare. They have no concept of what we've achieved down here. Rivera moved to another console, bringing up data from their spy satellites. The Confederation's bioships were truly massive, some nearly the size of small moons, but their organic construction, while incredibly resilient in space, had never been tested against weapons developed to function in crushing oceanic pressures. Latest simulation results, he said, displaying a new set of projections their ships. Organic hulls will be particularly vulnerable to our sonic disruptors. The same principles that let whales communicate across oceans will let us tear their fleet apart. Timeline, Chen asked. Final integration of all systems will be complete in 20 days. The entire fleet will be ready well before the planned execution date. Proximity alert sounded, and both turned to watch as a school of deep-sea creatures swam past the observation dome. Rivera had studied them extensively, incorporating their survival adaptations into his design's nature. It turned out had already solved many of the problems they faced. We've learned more about surviving in hostile environments in the past 5 years than we did in 50 years of space exploration. River amused the ocean, forced us to think differently, to innovate in ways we never considered before. Chen touched to control, bringing up a global display of their hidden fleet positions spread throughout Earth's oceans. Over 1 million ships waited in perfect formation, each incorporating technologies that would have seemed like science fiction just years ago. The Confederation thinks they forced us to disarm, she said quiet. Instead, they forced us to evolve. Rivera nodded toward the Leviathan, now completing its final tests. We didn't just build better ships, Admiral. We created an entirely new form of warfare. One they can't possibly be prepared for. A message flashed across their screens. Another successful test, another system ready for deployment in bases beneath every ocean. Humanity's secret fleet grew stronger, more capable. More ready for the day they would reveal themselves, Dr. Rivera Chen said. Turning to leave, you've given humanity more than just ships. You've given us a future they didn't think we could have. As the Admiral departed, Rivera returned his attention to the tests outside in the crushing darkness. The Leviathan continued its silent maneuvers, its hull gleaming with bioluminescent patterns. Soon, very soon, these depths would give up their secrets, and the galaxy would learn that humanity had not been disarming. They had been evolving. The Confederation flagship Hive Eternal hung in high Earth orbit, its organic hull pulsing with bioluminescent patterns of victory and dominance. Fleet Commander Zach Strill stood on his command podium, his compound eyes reflecting multiple views of the subjugated planet below. Another successful inspection. His second-in-command reported the humans continue to dismantle their defenses. As agreed, their submission is complete. Zach Stroll's mandibles clicked in satisfaction, and their oceans still full. Of their primitive watercraft, they cling to their naval traditions like larvae to a host. A pause. Though our deep scan probes continue to have difficulty penetrating the deeper waters. Irrelevant. Zach Stroll dismissed what threat could possibly hide in such primitive conditions. The answer came 30 seconds later. The first indication that something was wrong was a subtle disturbance in the Pacific Ocean. Satellite imagery showed what appeared to be a massive upwelling of water, then another in the Atlantic and another in The Indian Ocean. Multiple contacts, the sensor operator's voice rose in alarm, massive objects emerging from Earth's oceans. Zach Troll's compound eyes widened as the impossible unfolded before him from the depths of Earth's oceans. Ships began to rise, not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. Their hulls shed water like liquid mercury, seamlessly transitioning from aquatic to space-worthy configuration in her command center, deep beneath the Pacific. Admiral Chen gave the order they'd waited 5 years to hear. Execute Operation Deep Strike. All ships commence emergence protocol around the globe. Humanity's hidden fleet revealed itself. The ships rose in perfect formation, their metamaterial hulls already adapted for space combat. Each vessel's design was unlike anything the Confederation had ever encountered, smooth, predatory shapes that seemed to flow rather than move. Impossible Zach strolls. Mandibles clicked rapidly in distress. Their orbital defenses were destroyed. Their shipyards dismantled first wave in. Position, Rodriguez reported to Chen Confederation Fleet, showing signs of confusion and disarray. Execute attack pattern Leviathan. Chen commanded target their command and control nodes. First, the human ships moved with devastating precision. Their gravitic lance weapons, designed to function in crushing ocean depths, proved catastrophic against the Confederation's bioships. The organic hulls that had seemed so involved vulnerable in traditional space combat offered little protection against weapons inspired by deep-sea predators. Multiple Confederation vessels experiencing critical hull failures. Park announced, her voice steady. Their organic technology appears particularly vulnerable to arsonic disruptors. In space, the battle unfolded like a dance choreographed by nature itself. Human ships moved with the fluid grace of marine predators. Their formations, orem inent of hunting pods of whales, the Confederation's massive bioships, for all their biological advantages, found themselves facing weapons and tactics they had never encountered. Second wave. Emerging now, Okanjo reported Atlantic and Indian Ocean flotillas, reporting successful transition to space combat configuration. The Confederation fleet attempted to reorganize to bring their superior numbers to bear, but their tactics, honed in the vacuum of space, proved inadequate against an enemy that had learned to fight in 3 dimensions under crushing pressure. Fascinating, Dr. Rivera murmured from his observer station. Their bioships are responding to our sonic attacks exactly as predicted. The harmonic frequencies are disrupting their neural networks. Indeed, the massive alien vessels were writhing in space, their organic systems thrown into chaos by weapons based on whale songs and deep-sea pressure waves. Ships that could shrug off traditional energy weapons were being torn apart from within by technologies born in Earth's oceans. Priority message from the Confederation flagship Park announced they're requesting immediate cessation of hostilities. They want to negotiate. Chen's expression remained neutral. Response necessary. Continue the attack as planned. Let them learn what hiding in the depths has taught us. More human ships continue to rise from the oceans, each emergence perfectly timed and positioned. The Confederation's fleet spread thin across the solar system. In their complacency, found themselves unable to concentrate their forces effectively. Hostile vessel attempting to withdraw to FTL. Rodriguez reported, deploy the Kren nets. Chen ordered from several human dreadnoughts massive energy. Fields expanded like ghostly tentacles, the technology INSP inspired by the capture techniques of deep-sea creatures, ensnared the fleeing bioships, preventing their escape. Admiral Okanjo called out, we're detecting massive energy signatures from Mars. Orbit, the Confederation is calling in reinforcements. Chen nodded as if she'd been expecting this perfect initialize Phase 2 signal. The Mariana Fleet to begin their run from the depths of the Mariana Trench. Humanity's largest and most advanced vessels began to emerge. These were the Leviathan-class dreadnoughts ships that had been testing and evolving in the most hostile environment on Earth. Look at their beer ratings. Rivera observed with professional interest. The Confederation commanders are experiencing extreme stress responses. They truly never imagined we could achieve this. That was the point, Chen replied. We didn't just hire our fleet. We created an entirely new form of warfare while they watched us disarm. The battle continued to unfold across the solar system as more ships rose from Earth's oceans to join the fight each vessel carried. Technologies forged in the most hostile environment humanity had ever mastered turned now against an enemy that had never considered the ocean a cradle of military innovation. The perfect deception was revealing its true face, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Confederation's reinforcement fleet dropped out of FTL near Mars, their massive bioships casting shadows across the red planet's surface. High Commander Vexor surveyed the tactical display with growing horror. Where there should have been a compliant, disarmed Earth, there was instead a battlefield strewn with the broken husks of Confederation vessels by the first hive. He chittered. "What are we witnessing on Earth?" Admiral Chen watched the new arrivals with calculated satisfaction. Right on schedule. All ships initiate Operation Tsunami. The response from Earth's oceans was immediate and overwhelming. From the Arctic and Southern Oceans, previously untapped reservoirs of human vessels began to emerge. These ships were different, smaller, faster designed, specifically for the next phase of battle. Peon has squadrons reporting ready. Rodriguez announced hammerhead formations in position in space. The newly arrived Confederation fleet found themselves facing an enemy that defied everything they thought they knew about warfare. The human vessels moved in formations that mimicked ocean predators. Their tactics evolved from millions of years of natural selection. Fascinating adaptation, Dr. Rivera observed from his station. The Confederation's bioships are attempting to modify their whole frequencies to resist our sonic attacks exactly as we predicted. Deploy the Mega Skin protocols. Chen ordered the massive Leviathan-class dreadnoughts already engaged, with the first wave of Confederation ships began emitting complex gravimetric fields. The technology, inspired by the hunting techniques of deep-sea predators, created zones of distorted space-time that trapped and crushed enemy vessels. Multiple Confederation ships experiencing critical systems failure. Park reported their organic technology cannot compensate for the gravitational shear. High Commander Vex Thor watched in disbelief as his reinforcement fleet was systematically torn apart. Impossible, their weapons. They're not following any known principles of space combat. That's because we didn't develop them for space. Rivera murmured, monitoring the battle data. We developed them for something far more hostile. The human fleet moved with incredible coordination. Their formations fluid and adaptable. Smaller ships darted between the massive Confederation bioships, their weapons targeting vulnerable points with surgical precision. The tactics evolved from studying pack hunters in Earth's oceans proved devastatingly effective against an enemy used to rigid hierarchical combat formations. Signal from the Confederation flagship Park announced their broadcasting on all frequencies on screen. Chen High Commander Vex Thor's insectoid features filled the display. This is impossible. You were disarmed, compliant. How did you hide this?" Chen's reply was calm, almost conversational. "You looked to the stars for threats, Commander. You should have looked to the oceans. The oceans." Vex Thor's mandibles clicked in confusion. Those primitive waters forced us to evolve. Technologies you never conceived of, Chen explained. You think space is hostile. Try building ships to withstand pressures that would crush your bioships like eggs. Try developing weapons that work in an environment where traditional energy weapons are useless, as if to emphasize her point. Another wave of human vessels emerged from the South Pacific. These ships specialized for close combat, move like sharks through space. Their metamaterial hulls reflecting sensor signals in ways that made them nearly impossible to target. Admiral Okanjo reported, Confederation fleet cohesion is breaking down. Their ships are attempting independent retreats. Deploy the final wave, Chen ordered. Let's show them everything we've learned from the deepest ocean trenches. The last of humanity's hidden fleet emerged. These were the newest vessels incorporating every lesson learned from 5 years of evolution in Earth's most extreme environment. Their hulls rippled with patterns copied from spylop pods, making them virtually invisible to conventional sensors. Remarkable. River U noted, studying the battle data. Their bioships are actually attempting to adapt to our weapons, but they can't evolve fast enough. We had 5 years to perfect these technologies. They're trying to match that in minutes. The battle had become rote Confederation ships, their organic technology rendered ineffective by weapons they never imagined possible, were either surrendering or being destroyed. Their mighty fleet terror of 1,000 WHS was being systematically dismantled by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. Admiral Park called out, "We're receiving surrender signals from multiple Confederation vessels, including High Commander Vex Thor's flagship." Chen nodded slowly. "Accept their surrender. Prepare boarding teams and signal all ships operation." Deep Shield is now entering its final phase as the human fleet secured their victory. The true magnitude of what they had achieved began to sink in. They hadn't just defeated the Confederation, they had revolutionized warfare itself. The oceans, which their enemies had dismissed as primitive, had forced humanity to develop technologies that made traditional space combat obsolete. Send word to all commands. Chen order, the deception is over. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity has become in Space. Earth's fleet moved into formation around their homeworld, their metamaterial hulls gleaming with bioluminescent patterns of victory. They had hidden in the depths, evolved in the darkness, and emerged stronger than anyone could have imagined. The perfect deception had become the perfect victory. The Grand Council chamber of the Confederation lay silent, its vast organic architecture bearing witness to an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 100 species watched as Admiral Chen stood before them, her uniform pristine, her posture unwavering behind her through the chamber's transparent walls. Earth's fleet hung in formation, a reminder of how completely the galaxy's power structure had shifted. "You hid an entire civilization's military might in your oceans," First Speaker K stated, their cine form, refracting light in patterns of disbelief for 5 years. "We thought we had achieved bloodless victory." No, Chen corrected, "for 5 years, you gave us exactly what we needed, time and motivation to evolve beyond anything you could imagine." Dr. Rivera stepped forward, activating a holographic display. "What you're about to see is how we did it." The display showed the depths of Earth's oceans, where humanity had transformed necessity into advantage. The council members watched in stunned silence as the presentation revealed the true scope of Project Poseidon. "Your bioships are remarkable achievements," Rivera explained, "perfect for the vacuum of space. But we had to solve a different problem. How to build vessels that could withstand pressures that would crush your ships into atoms." The display shifted to show the Mariana Trench facilities at these depths. "We couldn't rely on tradition technologies. We had to innovate, learn from the creatures that had already mastered these environments. The metamaterial hulls," a Confederation scientist chittered. "They're based on marine life, seal pod, chromatophores, fish, scales, whale biomechanics," River U noted. "Nature spent millions of years perfecting survival in the most hostile environment on our planet. We just had learn to listen." Admiral Chen touched to control, and the display showed their ships transitioning from sea to space. "Every technology we developed had to work in both environments. What you saw as primitive naval vessels were actually our testing platforms." The chamber erupted in murmurs as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just hidden their fleet, they had used the ocean's challenges to force unprecedented technological evolution, your weapons. Another council member spoke. "They're unlike anything we've encountered because they weren't developed for space warfare." Chin explained, "Sonic weapons based on whale songs, gravitic lances inspired by deep-sea pressure metamaterial hulls that learned to adapt from the creatures living in our oceans. We didn't just build weapons. We created a new form of warfare." First, Speaker Kazo rose, their crystalline form catching the light. "And now what are your demands?" As Victor Chen's response surprised them all. "We don't want conquest. We want cooperation. Real cooperation, not subjugation, disguised as alliance. She gestured to Rivera, who activated another display. We're prepared to share some of our technologies, not the weapons, those remain classified, but the environmental adaptation systems, the Hall technologies. These could transform life throughout the galaxy. Transform. Several council members leaned forward. Rivera nodded. Think about it. Ships that can withstand crushing pressures could explore, gas giant atmospheres, metamaterial holes, could protect colonies on extreme worlds. Sonic technology could revolutionize communication and medicine. You offer this freely. Kaz's tone carried clear suspicion. Not freely. Chen corrected. In exchange for true partnership, equal standing, and a complete restructuring of the Confederation into something more equitable. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just offering technology, they were reshaping the galaxy's political landscape. There will be resistance to oath-warned many worlds. Profit from the current structure. Chen's smile was slight but confident. Then they should remember what we achieved in just 5 years. When given proper motivation, the message was clear. The same ingenuity that had transformed Earth's oceans into humanity's shield could be turned to other purposes, creative or destructive. We've already begun adapting the Mariana facilities. Rivera added they'll serve as the first joint research center, the place where scientists from all worlds can study and develop technologies for extreme environments, as if to emphasize his point. The display showed new construction beginning in Earth's oceans, but this time the facilities weren't for building weapons, they were for building bridges. The choice is yours. Chen addressed the council. We can remain separate, suspicious, locked in an endless cycle of dominance and submission, or we can learn from Earth's oceans, adapt, evolve, find ways to thrive in hostile environments by working together. First, Speaker So's crystalline form pulsed. With complex patterns, and if we refuse, then we return to our ocean, S. Chen replied simply. And next time you won't know what we're developing until it's too late. The threat was subtle but clear. Humanity had proven they could hide an entire civilization's military might in plain sight. They could do it again. As the council chambers erupted in discussion, Chen and Rivera shared a knowing look. The ocean had taught humanity its greatest lesson. True strength wasn't about domination. It was about adaptation. In Earth's oceans, life had learned to thrive in the most hostile conditions by evolving, cooperating, finding new ways to survive. Now humanity would teach that lesson to the stars. The perfect deception had become the perfect opportunity for change, and in the depths of Earth's oceans, new wonders were already beginning to emerge.